Hello everyone and welcome to today's session of the UK Festival Week in association with the University of Bristol. The dedicated Faculty of Social Sciences and Law are going to be taking you through what courses they've got available, as well as the great facilities they've got on site and online opportunities. Now, just before I go any further, just a reminder of today's session. It is live on Zoom, on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. So please, if you've got any questions on social media, please do send them over in the Messenger facility. And on Zoom today, if you are watching live, use the chat or Q&A facility at the top. Just a bit of information about what we're going to be going through today. Presentation from the University of Bristol and that faculty. Bit about postgrad.com, and just before that we'll have a live Q&A as well. A chance to win £500 off your tuition costs moving forward, and of course what's coming up for the rest of the week and what we've seen so far. Now, before I go any further, I'd like to introduce you today to Jake George. He is an international officer at the University of Bristol. I'd like to hand over to him now. He will be narrating the next 20 to 25 minutes, maybe a bit longer than that, and so on from there. Jake, over to you.
Great, thank you so much for the introduction. So welcome and good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you're tuning in from here today. So as just mentioned, I'm Jake George. I'm an international officer here at the University of Bristol, and I focus on international student recruitment within the Faculty of Social Sciences and Law. And today we'll be focusing on social sciences for a globalized world. So thank you very much for joining us. It's great to see so much interest in the University of Bristol and our faculty specifically. We really do appreciate that. So we do have quite a exciting and action-packed agenda today, and I've got quite an extensive panel of academic staff, professional services staff, and alumni just waiting to talk to you. So on the schedule that we have today, we have an introduction to the university for those of you who might not be so familiar already. We'll tell you a little bit about our Faculty of Social Sciences and Law, and then we'll move on to some panel presentations from some of the school staff or alumni within those faculty schools. And then we'll close out the session by telling you about some of the career support scholarships that we have available, and then of course providing you with the opportunity to ask your questions. So please do ask your questions throughout today's session, but we will address them at the end of the presentation. If we don't get to your question today, or maybe you think of a question afterwards, by all means, you can follow up with us afterwards. The best email address to use is choosebristol-pg@bristol.ac.uk. Okay, so first of all, welcome to the university. So for those of you who might not be so familiar with us, we are quite a prestigious university, and we're consistently featured highly in many of the respected ranking tables. So we're recognized as being a top 10 institution within the UK, and we're 62nd globally, and that's in the latest QS ranking, so very well respected. And within that, we've got 35 subjects here at the University of Bristol that are within the world top 100 in terms of subject listing. And within the Faculty of Social Sciences and Law, where we're from, that includes law, education, accounting and finance, economics, and also policy studies within that top 100. We are a Russell Group institution, so this means we're one of the UK's leading research universities, and we were recognised in the latest Research Excellence Framework for being the 5th best in the UK for research. We're also linked with Nobel Prize winners, so 13 to be exact, and one of those, Angus Dayton, he was actually a professor of econometrics here at the University of Bristol. So again, some key facts here about the university. So we're quite a traditional and historic university, founded in 1876 as the University College Bristol. And there was a desire to establish an academic and university culture within Bristol. And since then, the university has grown to be one of the most research intensive universities in the world, and the institution that you might know today. As I mentioned before, we were one of the founding Russell Group institution members, and this is a leading group of UK institutions. And Bristol is also part of the Worldwide Universities Network, so a leading global higher education research network of 22 universities across 6 continents. You might know that we're actually one of the most targeted universities by top employers as well. So not only are we academically ranked very highly, but our employers globally and in the UK recognise that we produce top graduates. So in the UK, we're recognised as being the third most targeted by top 100 employers, and then globally, we're in the world top 50 in the QS employability rankings. So you can expect a good return on your investment. We've also got a significant investment in our facilities on campus. We're currently building a new Temple Quarter campus, which will be home to our new business school. And then finally, moving on to our next section, the university is actually located in the southwest of the UK. And so what this means is that we have quick access to many key destinations, including London, which we know is a big draw for many of our home and also international students. It's about an hour and a half away by train. And Bristol is a much more affordable alternative to live in, but with great access to London. So you can still enjoy all those sort of tourist attractions that you might want to do. You can just do those on a weekend but without the additional cost. We're also close proximity to Cardiff, which is the capital city of Wales. So being a capital city, you can expect all those great things like arena tour, concerts, major sporting events, etc. And we're also not far from nature. We have beaches, valleys, lakes, mountains, all very close by, as well as the Cotswolds region of the UK, which again, many of our international students like to explore. And in terms of traveling around Europe, also when you're here in the UK, we do have an international airport, and that provides a gateway to many destinations like Dublin, Paris, Madrid, Rome, within just a couple of hours, as well as providing you an easy route into Bristol itself when you fly in to join us as a student. In terms of the city itself, it's very important that you consider where you live, not just the place that you're going to study. You'll be here for at least a year, and you want to create some happy and healthy memories of your time studying here. And the city of Bristol has been recognised as a great place to live in the UK. So in 2017, we were recognised as the coolest city, and that was determined by Rough Guide. And they named the city's love of hot air balloons. So we've got our International Balloon Fiesta, the proximity to outdoor spaces. So we've got over 400 parks and green spaces, as well as our vibrant food scene as some of the highlights of living here. And the BBC also confirmed this by naming us as the best place to live outside of London for younger people. And they cited the ease of getting around, availability of internet, and the friendliness of the people as just some of the reasons why you should enjoy Bristol. We're also quite a sustainable city, and we have a commitment to environmental causes and welfare. And we were named the green capital of both Europe and the UK within the last decade. And we're often cited as one of the most vegan places on earth. And this year we were voted the most vegan city in the UK. Moving on to our student population, our student community. We are a very international university. So our student body is very diverse, and we welcome students from over 150 different countries. That was in the latest 2021 intake. And of our 27,000 students across undergraduate and postgraduate, a quarter of those come from outside the UK. So you can see we have this real international outlook. And we actively encourage collaboration and engagement between students from different backgrounds. And this is evidenced through services such as our Global Lounge, and that aims to connect students from different backgrounds and cultures with each other to learn more about each other's cultures. And they specialize in running events to celebrate internationally significant days like Diwali, Day of the Dead, etc. And they also run weekly language cafes so you can practice your conversational English. They also provide a physical space for students to connect with one another and to learn about the study abroad opportunities as well. So where do our students come from? This is just a quick snapshot pulling out some of the major regions at a glance. The labels aren't exhaustive. So for example, in the latest intake, we had 61 new students from Thailand. So you can see there's a good spread of students coming in. In terms of the focus, so the university structure, we actually have a number of different, sorry, jumping ahead of myself there. We have a number of different facilities across the university. So that includes the usual things you might expect, like libraries, We have 9 of those, in fact, which offer plenty of study spaces, but also specialist subject librarians, so you can really get access and support for your specific subject area. We have the usual IT support, so while you're here, you can be helped out with any technical difficulties you might have. And we have managed study centres, which allow you to book rooms and spaces to collaborate with your peers and work in groups together. We also have subject-specific facilities such as the Bloomberg Trading Room and the Lady Hale Moot Court for students in our law school or our business schools like economics, accounting and finance and management, specifically within our Faculty of Social Sciences and Law. In terms of the university structure, faculties and schools, the university consists of 6 different faculties, so arts, engineering, health sciences, life sciences, science, social sciences and law. And as you know, today we're going to focus on this social sciences and law. So the social sciences and law faculty comprises of 7 different schools. That's accounting and finance, economics, education, management, policy studies, sociology, politics and international studies, as well as our law school. And you'll be hearing from a number of representatives from across those schools here today. The aim of today's session, and what we hope you'll gain from today's session, is a snapshot of our degree courses offered across these schools and how they're embedded within this social science discipline. So we're constantly evolving and changing rather than just teaching this textbook theory. We also hope that you'll be challenged and hopefully inspired by our academics here, whose research is known to be world leading and internationally recognized. So they can bring those cutting edge teachings back to the classroom. We also hope to provide you with an understanding of the social sciences graduates can play in tackling the challenges of today's globalized world. And we also hope to inform you about how our degrees are respected by world leading organizations and will help you to stand out amongst other candidates when you graduate. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Balint, and ask him to tell you about our program in the School of Accounting and Finance.
Thank you, Jake. My name is Balint Horváth. I'm a senior lecturer at the School of Accounting and Finance, and I'm the program director for the MSc in Finance and Investment program. Thank you, Jake. I'm very happy to be here today with you and to be able to tell you about this program. This is aimed at students with undergraduate degrees in finance, economics, or accounting, and those of you who are interested in pursuing careers in the financial sector. So really this program will enable you to look for a job in really any area in finance, because it provides a thorough grounding in all of the core areas in finance, including asset pricing, corporate finance, derivatives, financial modeling, and investment management. So all of these areas are covered by the mandatory part of the curriculum. This program is also very interesting and great for you if you're interested in pursuing a research career. It's a great springboard to start your PhD studies. Jake, could you please jump to the next slide? Thank you. So what's unique about this program and why should you choose Bristol? Well, as Jake mentioned, we have world-leading researchers teaching the various subjects at Bristol, and particularly in this program. And many of these colleagues have industry experience. So I myself, for instance, worked as a consultant in banking before starting an academic career. Now I'm involved in various research projects with the World Bank. And I teach bank management and risk management, and I use real-life examples from my from various projects that I worked on as a consultant and as a researcher in my classes. So apart from the core areas that I mentioned in the previous slide, you will also be able to choose from a wide range of elective modules. So you will be able to specialize and choose something that inherently interests you. A popular example of an elective is financial technology. If you take that unit, you will be able to look for jobs in this hot area that is very timely nowadays. By the way, this unit, financial technology, is taught by my colleague Piotr Danisevich, who himself does research on financial technology, and his research has been recently cited by the US Congress, saying that his research article informed and influenced their decision making. So it's just another example of an academic who you will be able to ask questions and discuss very topical issues and cutting edge issues. Moving on, there is a strong focus on practical applications in our teaching. So, for example, another popular elective is credit risk. In that unit, you will be implementing risk models on a computer, very much like in a real life situation if you worked in a bank. You will also benefit from exposure to key financial platforms such as Bloomberg and Thomson Reuters Icon. These are platforms that are used all over the world to get information, financial data, and do trading. And finally, you will benefit from dedicated school and faculty employability. So we have a colleague at the school who works with students, academics, and universities career service to deliver targeted support to students. So basically, to those of you who will be looking for jobs in finance. There is also a rich offering of career supports, including one-on-one and small group sessions and workshops, where you will be able to improve your application skills, work on your CV, get advice on your CVs, and so forth. And we also have a professional liaison service that builds links between students and external organizations to provide guest speakers and mentoring opportunities and potentially even internship opportunities. So that's from me now. Thank you very much. I look forward to your questions. I'm very happy to answer all of your questions. And now I will hand over to Ahmed.
Thank you, Balint. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. I speak to you as an alumnus, being in your position just a few years ago. So I'll hope to give you some insight into my experience as a Bristol student. So the first point I'd like to address is why I came back to further education as what I've been called numerously a mature student. Having been a legal practitioner back in Kenya for approximately 6 to 7 years, I yearned for a challenge, a fresh challenge. And what better challenge than receiving a degree, a master's degree from a leading Russell Group university, such as Bristol. So the reason I raise this as my first point is a number of mature students, I'm aware, might hesitate like I did. They might be thinking, why put my career on hold while I seek further education? But I will add that studying my LLM at the University of Bristol has perhaps been my best career choice to date, given the diverse opportunities it's made available to me. The second point I'd like to address is the flexibility of the course. The LLM program is refreshingly flexible. There being no mandatory courses, no mandatory units, you can curate your LLM as to your heart's pleasure and to match your career plans, like I did. Being an aspiring international trade expert, international trade and economic law expert, I chose international trade and economic law focused units and modules at the heart of my LLM, and these have really come in handy. And I'm certainly extremely grateful for the opportunity to not only select the units on the basis of my career choice, but also on the basis of my tutors who I continue to work with to date. The hand in hand is the opportunities my LLM, earning an LLM from the University of Bristol has given me currently. Interestingly, during my second term of the master's, which was in early 2019, I was invited to write for a leading international trade and economic law blog, the Afronomics Law blog in Africa. And through this opportunity, I later, soon thereafter actually, was invited to consult and advise within the African, Caribbean and Pacific professional network, which I continue to do to this date as an international trade expert within the context of the continent. I was also soon thereafter headhunted to work within one of the leading law firms in the East and Central African region, the African Legal Network, Anjarwala and Kana, which I started almost immediately after earning my LLM, and he spearheaded the launch of their trade department. And all this would have been impossible, at least very, very difficult, without the credentials that I managed to earn within the encouraging environment of the University of Bristol. Now, I don't believe there can be a better advertisement for the LLM program here in Bristol than the fact that I'm back doing my PhD and currently teaching as well. I couldn't wait to get back. So the opportunities that it presented to me were incredible, and they continue to be amazing. But I wanted to come back and earn further, credentials within the university and open further horizons in my career. The next point I'd like to address, Jake, if you'd like to move on, thank you, is, and I've seen it as a question posed already, are the scholarship opportunities that are available within the university. I myself, I am a beneficiary of the Chevening Scholarship, without which I would not be here. I would not have earned my LLM within the university. So I'm aware there are a number of scholarship opportunities that are available. The university is partnered with a number of international scholarships, one of which is the Chevening Scholarship and the Commonwealth Scholarship, given in conjunction with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. And this partnership has allowed students like me who would otherwise find it very difficult, international students especially, to study within prestigious University of Bristol's caliber, to do so and compete at the very highest levels. Now, on a more personal level, because aside from the professional opportunities that Bristol has presented to me and academic opportunities as well, my experience living in Bristol within the student body has been amazing. The diversity of the student body cannot be gainsaid. It's amazing to walk around and see people from all over the world, interact with them, network with them, and hear all these languages being spoken. And naturally, as an international student, you cannot avoid being homesick, missing home, especially with the very difficult transition in terms of weather. So the diverse student body translated into a diverse society body as well within the university. So I managed to, at the very onset, managed to join a number of societies such as the East African Society, the Afro-Caribbean Society, which allowed me to interact with people from home, speak some of my home languages, and this made my experience much easier. It helped me integrate much easier. Needless to say, as has been mentioned previously, living in Bristol, I wouldn't substitute it with anything, at least not in the UK. I've made it my second home, and I will continue to live here for the foreseeable future. It's an amazing city to be a student. It's an amazing city to be a young person. Even if I've been called a mature student previously, I am still young. And it's a lot of fun. And it's a great place from which to explore the country. London's very close by. You can visit fairly regularly, but there's a lot to do within Bristol that you'll appreciate within your experience as a student here. And that should be it for me. I'll invite Salim now to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. And hello, everyone. I'm Selim. I'm the Program Director of the new Master's Program, MSc International Business and Strategy, Global Challenges. It's a specialist master program. We can move to the other slide. Yeah, thank you, Jake. It's a specialist master program that merges international business and strategy disciplines, and it has a specific focus on global challenges. So the program is about how businesses can redefine themselves to provide solutions to global challenges. And building on strategic management and international business perspectives, it will develop students to be able to deal with wicked problems and global challenges that are facing businesses and societies today. So these are key concerns of our times, such as climate change, migration, modern slavery, poverty, income inequality, social inequality, and companies are facing these challenges. So our graduates will be able to engage with these issues from strategic management or international business perspectives. And we expect our graduates to be recruited in a wide range of positions, such as strategy, finance, or corporate social responsibility, and their expertise will be in great demand, so options are wide open, and they may consider a career in all types of business organizations, consulting firms, or governmental departments. In terms of program content, the first semester we will cover all the core units on global challenges, global strategy, and international business. And the second semester will be much more focusing on sustainability themes, and you will have the options to specialize in different areas like marketing, human resources, or operations management. Bristol is a research-intensive university. You will have a chance to interact with some of the world's leading experts on global challenges and societal issues. And you will be taught by passionate and problem-driven researchers who are determined to make a real impact on people's lives. Jack, can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. Before finishing, I would like to give a quick background of myself to show how interdisciplinary the field is. So as you see, I did my master's and PhD in international business, but before joining to Bristol University as a lecturer in strategy and international business, I have worked as a research fellow on modern slavery. So my research interests lie at this intersection of strategy, sustainability, and international business. And I particularly focus on modern slavery and labor exploitation. And I look at the issue from an international business perspective because modern slavery is largely hidden in international supply chains, and global migrants working in these supply chains are particularly at high risk. That's why I think international business and strategy disciplines are having a lot to offer to provide solutions to global challenges such as modern slavery. So as you could expect, my research is highly interdisciplinary, and because modern slavery and all other global challenges are very complex and they require different fields working together to make progress. So I constantly collaborate with colleagues from different disciplines such as geography, maths, engineering. For instance, in one of my recent projects, my colleagues and I use satellite imagery to be able to identify and mitigate modern slavery risks in strawberry supply chain in Greece. So the point I try to make here is that no matter what discipline that you are coming from, your expertise is gonna be highly appreciated. So as long as you are interested in finding solutions to global challenges, I look forward to receiving your applications, and thanks a lot for listening. So I will hand over to Natasha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and hello everyone. I'm Natasha, I'm the School International Officer for our School of Economics here, and I'm here to talk to you about our Masters in Economics. So what is economics? It's a subject that empowers you to understand the real world better, enabling you to influence policy and practice. For example, our academics are currently researching important global issues, such as how a school admission criteria impacts social inequality and how teaching in higher education can be positively enhanced as a result of blended learning following the pandemic. Here at the University of Bristol, we offer 5 programmes at the School of Economics at postgraduate level, and you can browse all of these on our website. The link is at the bottom of this slide. Our master's programme in economics or in economics and finance are best suited to those with a quantitative background, and our generalist programme, MSc Economics, Finance and Management, is targeted towards those without a prior economics knowledge. So for today's session, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what studying an MSc in economics is like, and what you can expect from the University of Bristol studying it here. So on the next slide, I want to cover what makes a Master's in Economics so special. We think there are top 3 reasons. Firstly, our academic reputation. Secondly, our teaching excellence. And thirdly, how this might lead to your bright future. So what does this mean in more detail? Well, our academic reputation means how well regarded the School of Economics is globally. We are recognised as a world-class experts in the field of economics, and we rank highly across national and global rankings, such as being a top 10 UK university for economics and 84th in the world in the QS subject rankings 2021. By joining a leading school of economics, this means you gain access to some of the best academic teaching. And it's not just who is teaching you that makes this special, but it's also what we teach. All of our programmes will challenge you, meaning you'll gain a rigorous understanding of economics. Our programmes are also innovative. We regularly review and update what we teach, so we adapt this based upon the needs of our students. For example, introducing a data science pathway, as we know that this is a skill that employers are seeking. So what's next after studying an economics degree at Bristol? Once you graduate from us, you'll be prepared for a successful future. 93% of our graduates are in work or further study 15 months after graduation, almost all of them in professional level roles that utilise their degree skills. And that's taken directly from the Graduate Outcomes Survey 2018-19. We're also proud to be 4th in the United Kingdom for graduate prospects in the Complete University Guide subject rankings for 2022, joint with the University of Oxford. All of our postgraduate degrees offer a broad range of graduate opportunities, from working in the finance and banking sector, government departments where you can shape public policy, to NGOs and development organisations. Within these sectors, you might be working in roles such as an economist, data analyst, or a project coordinator, to name but a few. So if you're interested in finding out more about where our alumni go, you can visit the bristol.ac.uk/economics site, where you can hear more about our student stories. And I'm going to carry on talking to you a little bit more now about our careers. And I think that brings us nicely onto the next slide. So I'm going to focus a bit on the central university careers support that we offer here, as I know this is something that's really important to all applicants. So you can see on this slide some great stats about the University of Bristol. We are ranked 9th in the UK for employability in the QS Graduate Employability Rankings for 2020, 18th in Europe for employer reputation in the QS World University Rankings 2022, and 87% of non-UK graduates were in work or further study 15 months after graduating in the Graduate Outcomes Survey 2018-19. So studying at the University of Bristol means joining a university with a great reputation amongst graduate employers, already putting you in a good position for your graduate career. And on the next slide, you can see some of the support that our Central Careers Service offers. So there's support and advice from students from day one of joining us. And whether you want to find work in the UK or back in your home country after graduating, or indeed anywhere in the world, our Central Careers Service are here to help. So yes, support and advice from day one to find work experience, internships and graduate jobs. And as well as face-to-face and one-to-one support and workshops, they also have a range of online support resources and fact sheets to help students with their career journey. And they also run a range of employer-led events and fairs. The Bristol Plus Award recognises extracurricular activity completed throughout your studies. And for those amongst you with a business startup idea, the Basecamp Enterprise team is there to support you. You can find out more information about the support and advice delivered by the Central Careers Service by visiting bristol.ac.uk/careers. And I'm going to continue talking now, moving on to scholarships. I know we've already had a few questions coming in the Q&A and chat about this. So it's an area we often have a lot of questions on from our international applicants. And I'm really pleased to say we have a huge range of scholarships available, and full details of these can be found on our web pages at bristol.ac.uk/international-scholarships. And for 2022 entry, the University of Bristol is investing £2 million in international scholarships, which is fantastic. So our Central University International Scholarship Scheme is called Think Big. And as well as good academic credentials, we are looking for applicants with evidence of outstanding achievements, contributions to community, and also future plans. For postgraduate applicants, we have awards of £5,000, £10,000 and £20,000. And scholarship applicants must have applied for a full-time degree starting in 2022 and pay fees at the overseas rates. This includes students from the EU. And you can see online for further eligibility requirements or any changes to our scholarships. And in addition to the main Think Big Scholarship Fund, we also have some additional subject-specific scholarships which are available, and specifically relating to the Faculty of Social Sciences and Law. These include the Future Leaders Scholarships for Management, the Global Accounting and Finance Postgraduate Scholarships, the Global Economics Postgraduate Scholarships, School of Policy Studies Postgraduate International Scholarships, Think Big About Education Scholarships, and Think Big About Global Justice Postgraduate Scholarships for law. But the good news is that you only have to make one application through our online form, which will allow you to be considered for all scholarships that are applicable. So we'd strongly encourage any international applicants to have a look at our scholarship pages and do put in an application if you are eligible. So that brings us towards the end of our presentation. And I hope you found it really useful. We've heard from some great speakers. If you'd like to find out more about the university, you can follow us on our social channels. And we should now have some time for some questions.
Natasha, I will start with you if that's okay, just because it's probably the most relevant, because we've just spoken about scholarships. So one of the questions, or two of the questions actually that have come through on the screen have been aimed towards scholarships and how they apply. Can you give them some help in terms of, you know, what are the university looking for when you're applying for a scholarship, and can you apply for more than one?
Absolutely. So as I said, there's one application form that you complete online for our Think Big scholarships, and that allows you to be considered for all that you might be applicable for. So Think Big is our overreaching term for all of our international scholarships, and that does include things that I mentioned, like the Global Economics scholarships, the Global Accounting and Finance scholarships. So applicants only need to make one application and they'll automatically be applicable. And I can see that my colleague Jake has very kindly just posted a link in the chat to all the details. And as I mentioned on the slide, we are looking for evidence as well as strong academic candidates. We're looking for evidence of kind of extracurricular achievements, things they've been involved in for the community, and also future plans, hence it being called Think Big. So we want people who are going to think big and hopefully sort of be a good representative for the university in the future as well.
Excellent. And Ahmed, if we can come to you next, please. Obviously, you've mentioned that you've come back to the university. after being there a few years ago. Can you just tell me from a student's perspective, what makes it such a special place to come back to? I know you've alluded to it already, and actually I think you mentioned the weather at some point, and it's typical that it's a gloriously good day today. I can see the sun peering through everywhere, which is great. But can you just talk to me about the place? And I know you mentioned not far away from anywhere, but just give me an idea.
Well, my experience as a student obviously is twofold. There's the educational perspective, which is excellent. The facilities, the faculty, people that I worked with, learned from during my master's are now people that I work with, which is amazing. But my personal development as a human being has been nurtured within Bristol. One, the city itself is amazing to live in. It's located very, like I said, very centrally. It's easy to get anywhere. There's a lot of fun things to do within the university itself. There's a number of societies. There's a number of extracurricular activities that make your experience as a student more fulfilling. So it's not just focused on, you're not told to hold yourself up in the library. It's more wholesome, and it's a holistic approach, I would say. So there's opportunities aside from just your educational improvement and achievement.
Excellent. And Jake, I'll kind of let you navigate this question in terms of who you want to answer. It might be yourself. But talk to me about the campus itself, the different campuses you've got, because I've been to Bristol, I've been to the law school before, and it's very central, which is one of the huge pros about the campuses. Talk to me about where it's positioned, the benefits of being where it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. My colleague Natasha might want to chip in if I miss anything out, but yeah, one of the great things about Bristol is how accessible it is. So I think if you perhaps study at other universities in the UK or perhaps go to London, there can be huge cities, but Bristol and where our campus in Clifton is situated in itself, it's very easy to navigate. So you don't need a car. To be honest, you don't really need to get the bus or anything like that. Most of our sort of lecture buildings, seminar buildings, they're a short walk away from the university accommodation. So you're looking at between sort of 5 minutes to 20 minutes walk typically for most things. So yeah, very easy to navigate. We're a campus-based university sort of within the Clifton area, so it's quite sprawling. We're not sort of isolated on a campus out of town. We're very much embedded within the city, so all those like shops, cafes, bars, whatever you want are just interspersed between your lecture locations. So between lectures, if you fancied grabbing a coffee or a sandwich or whatever you want to do, you can just grab that en route. So it's nice and convenient. We're also a very historic city, so we have this nice blend of quite grand and historic buildings. So one of those is our Wills Memorial Building, which is where the graduation ceremonies take place. It's a huge sort of tower, cathedral-like building, very grand. But we also have a very young student population. It's a very trendy student city, so it's very beautiful, historic looking, but you've got this edge of a student trendy sort of vibe as well. I don't know if Natasha, if you've got anything to kind of add.
I mean, actually, Jake, I mean, a question I'd have for Natasha, actually, and it might follow on from this, is you just mentioned what a young, vibrant student city it is, and I vouch for that as well. It's a big city, but it's a very young, diverse city as well. Can you talk to me about the international students that come to the university? Because being so central that you are in the UK, which is great, it's going to attract a large amount of international students. Is that right?
Absolutely. So particularly in the Faculty of Social Sciences and Law, we have a really big international community. I think we've got students studying from a huge amount of different nations all over the world. And one of the things that I think we're really proud of as a university is something that we have called the Global Lounge, which really works to help international and our home students integrate. And we, through the Global Lounge, there's a huge amount of support available for international students, but we also run celebration events of different cultures, different things in international calendar. So we do things like like for Chinese New Year, for Diwali, for Mexican Day of the Dead, and that's organised by our international students and staff, and everyone's encouraged to get involved in that. We also have our language cafe as well, so if any students want to come and practice conversational English in a kind of in a sort of less formal environment, they can do that, and they can also share their own home language as well with students from other countries who might be keen to learn a different language. And there's a lot of different kind of cultural related societies that students can join through the Students' Union. There's, I know a lot of students worry about, being able to get food from their home country. It's a very international city, Bristol. I think we've got, I don't want to quote exact numbers, but approximately sort of 150 different nationalities living in Bristol. And there's food from all over the world available here as well. Bristol is a very foodie city. So if anyone's worried about being able to get hold of food from home, there's loads of different international supermarkets, all very local to the university campus buildings as well. So lots of great things about being an international student here.
Sounds brilliant. I'm on my way up and I'm not even an international student. So talk to me about employability. One of the questions we've had come in actually from Mike is, do you offer online courses, and do they give you the same results as face-to-face degree at the campus? And likewise, does it matter what course you study, and does it make you more employable or less employable? Can one of you just pick up on that in terms of, I'd imagine there's a lot of people that would be worried that if they're studying quite a niche course, it would impact them moving forward. What's the case with that? Can one of you just inform us? Jake, I don't know if you just want to navigate in terms of who the best person to be there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, in terms of online learning, I mean, pre-pandemic, we are quite a traditional university, so our main focus typically is for students to come here in person and to learn in person. We believe that those classroom interactions with your peers from different countries gives you a different classroom dynamic, and that real sort of international flavour, and you get differences of opinion, which is good to present some different arguments and discussions which might widen your perspective. So our preference is certainly towards like in-person teaching. Obviously, with the pandemic, we did move to many of our courses being available online so that students could still access those. But now that the situation in the UK is, returning to relative normal, our plan is to revert back to in-person teaching as the sort of primary aspect of it. Obviously, we haven't had too much time yet to see the impact of students that did online learning and the kind of results of that for me to give you like a conclusive verdict. But just anecdotal feedback was fairly positive about, the way that the courses were quickly adapted, the use of breakout rooms, etc., for students to still have those interactive discussions and things with one another. Yeah, so I don't know if any of our teaching staff want to kind of come in on their opinion on how sort of online teaching was and that their perspective.
I don't know if any one of you are talking, but it doesn't seem to be working properly anyway. So look, I'll move on to the next question here. I don't know if anyone kind of alluded to it there in the presentation, but employability. It was just mentioned in the last question, but does it matter what course you study? Does it make you more or less employable? Would you recommend, just going for what you're strong at? And no matter what, that will kind of follow through, or would you recommend a certain course over others that will get you more chance of being employed in the future in certain careers? Natasha, do you want to pick that one up?
Yeah, I'm happy to comment on this. Obviously, it's really hard. We can't say, you should do X course, and we can't ever guarantee a career destination. So what I would say is any applicants need to do their research into what they, if there's an area that they want to go into, they need to look at what degree or postgraduate background they might need to have for that. Within the university, I mean, I talked about the sort of career service that's available. We also have other additional services in the Faculty of Social Sciences and Law, such as the Professional Liaison Network, and that links up our students with sort of employers or industry related to the subject that they're studying, depending on what program they're doing. So it's not available to every single program, but there's a variety of additional support there. There's also an international mentoring program that they can apply for. Through societies that they can join relating to their subject. There's a huge amount of networking opportunities with industry and employers that are available, and obviously networking with peers as well. That can be really helpful for the future. So, for example, the Economics, Finance and Management Society is one of the biggest societies in the university. We've got things like Women in Finance, the Investment Society, all that sort of thing. So lots and lots of opportunities in addition to the course to have links with industry. Yeah, but it's very hard to say you should do sort of X course in order to get into X career, but doing your research, having a look at the additional support that's offered through the university, through societies, I think that's really important. But it is also down to the student while they're here at the university to make the most of all the support and advice that is on offer as well.
Yeah, of course. And also from a student perspective, can you tell me or engage with the students really as to the timeline of applications? So if you was to apply for a course today, roughly how long would you expect it to take before you have an offer accepted? How long would you accept? You know, I get that students want a decision tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. We all know that. But I'm the same. When I studied, I wanted a decision the next day. It doesn't work like that. So can you give us a set time in terms of roughly, you know, from the word I pressed apply online, I've had to do an interview potentially, I've gone and visited the campus. How long does it take?
I can jump in on this one. So with regard to like our admissions process and procedures, the sort of service level agreement is for a decision from when you submit a complete application. So as long as all the documentation we require is there, it should take around 21 days. Obviously during peak periods where we're getting a high volume of applications, so particularly sort of January leading into February, it can take a little bit longer. We do sometimes have a backlog around that period. But yeah, certainly around this time of year, I would expect about 3 weeks from when you submit a complete application. Yeah.
Excellent. And go on, Natasha, sorry.
I was going to say, just to add to that, it's really important, I think, for applicants to have a look at what they need to submit to complete their application, because there's often our admissions team might have to go back and ask more documents, but if that can be submitted, you know, at the outset, obviously it speeds things up, as Jake said.
Yeah, and as well, a really important point, does it matter, you know, if they apply more than once, you know, if they don't get in the first year and that, you know, there's a certain reason why they've missed the criteria, can they come back and apply again? Does that really matter? Does it affect their standing next year? There's
no black mark or anything that we would hold against anybody at all. You know, we base the decisions based on the information you've provided to us. We have way too many applicants to be keeping track of who previously applied, etc. So yeah, just carefully read the admission statements to learn what you need to provide, and provide that information and anything that you think is relevant to the course or any additional experience, etc. That you might have gained since you last applied if it's the following year. Yeah, and between academic years like that you apply in, there might be different levels of competition. So sometimes you might meet our minimum entry requirements, but if there's a high level of applications that year, you might not get in. The following year it could be different. So yeah, we definitely encourage you to keep applying.
And I know you've alluded to this in your presentation earlier on during the webinar. However, I'm hoping one of the academics can probably answer this. From a classroom perspective, obviously with COVID, classes have probably shrunk, and rightly so. Is it better for a student to have smaller class sizes? Do you find that it helps? Do you find having, you know, more students in the class, you know, feeling part of a team, if you like, definitely helps? I don't know if one of the two academics that haven't spoken yet want to touch upon that.
I can give it a go.
Yeah.
So I think it would be good to have a mixture of big classes and small classes. So we kind of have the lectures in a slightly larger rooms with most students coming together in order to have the collegiality, and they want to know each other a bit better, then they can have this classroom feeling. But at the same time, we have seminars that we put students into small classrooms. We divide them into small teaching groups. in order to be able to give a bit more hands-on experience and being able to get in touch with students a bit more closely in a small teaching room, so they could be able to communicate with the educators in a closer contact. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that, everyone. Much appreciated. Sorry, Balin, did you have something to
just
tag
very
on to that
briefly? I wanted to add that we also innovate a lot in our teaching. So partly sparked by the pandemic, we also started to explore new kinds of ways to deliver materials. So we would post short videos that students would be able to watch, and then we would reflect together in class together, and that worked really well. And we explore other kinds of new technologies. In my own teaching, I found that some form of online teaching actually works better than in-person teaching, in particular when we work on the computer. So it works really well when students can use their computers or a university computer, and we all work together on some kind of on one of the assignments that we have.
Excellent. I was actually going to wrap things up, but I think there's two important questions that have come through on social media that I want to hear your answers, really. The first thing is about English language testing and Ielts. I know you've alluded to it already, but talk to me about the requirements. If it's only Ielts they can they take other providers, such as Pearson's, I think is one. Talk to me about that, Jake.
Yeah, sure. So on each of the prospectus pages for our programs, you'll find a link to what language profile your course requires. So that's the level of English language. Typically, people talk about Ielts scores because it's the most common one people are aware of as like a baseline, but we absolutely accept a number of other different qualifications. So just click the language profile link for your specific course. We do have a number of language exemptions listed on there. So perhaps if you are from a majority English speaking country, you might not need to provide anything other than your passport to just sort of prove your nationality. But we also accept a number of international high school qualifications. So for example, Indian students, we would consider your CBSE scores, you know, as long as you've achieved a certain grade. So do take a look. There's a very extensive list of qualifications that we accept. Of course, if yours isn't on there, you can still apply and you could have a conditional offer perhaps, and then you could meet the English language requirement using an Ielts or a similar secure English language test later on.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that all students are in the same boat with that, international students. You know, if anyone does struggle with that, that is the norm. You know, it's not an easy process. It never is. So please don't worry if you are listening or watching this. And the final question would be about in local employers. Do you work with anyone on a local, global, national scale that you know, once you have completed your degree, or even during your degree, that you offer work experience, or you know, you partner with certain companies? Are there any well-known names that you can think of?
I can maybe tell that we are currently working on a collaboration with the consultancy, and they will give guest lectures to students studying the MSc in finance and investment, and they will offer internship opportunities as well. So it's a great opportunity for any student to gain some experience in consultancy. Finance.
Very vital, very important. Okay, thank you. Look, everyone, thanks for your time today. Very much appreciated. We're just going to wrap up today's session, just a bit about postgrad.com. If you're not sure about who we are, if you've not heard of us before, we are one of the main websites around the globe in terms of PG recruitment. We've got over 10 million students that have found their perfect program, over 200 different countries for you to choose to study at. High international scholarship providers such as Chevening and Marshall we actually partner with. Best advice on accommodation, visas. We've just touched upon it then about English language support, funding, scholarships, so much more. Eligibility for one of our £500 bursaries, which anyone around the world can apply for, whether you're full-time, part-time, distance learning mode, it doesn't matter whether you're applying for 22 or 23. Get your applications in now by heading over to postgrad.com or via the links that we will reply. And also what's coming up for the rest of the week, this is the penultimate session. We'll have one tomorrow. Fresh Accommodation will be showcasing what the best properties they've got available are in the certain cities that we've heard over this week. But for now, a huge thank you to all those at University of Bristol Social Sciences and Law for taking part in this. It's been very insightful and educational. A huge thank you, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. But for now, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.